Fibertown. This is episode 200. That is correct. Alice and I are here for the 200th episode of this podcast that I started going on 5 years ago. I think it'll be 5 years in January. And it was high time I sat down to record this, but I didn't realize, as I did, that it was episode 200 until I pulled out my show notes notebook here. This is, I think, my third show notes book. So, just a quick little speech here. Get your drink so we can do a chin-chin at the end of it. Thank you so much for being with me, sharing in my makes, and sharing your makes with me. I truly appreciate the viewers that I have and the community that we have. So, today I have FOs, works in progress, spinning, dyeing, sewing, and acquisitions, and just general chit-chat sprinkled throughout, as I usually do. So we will say goodbye to Miss Alice. Alice, I see your eyes sparkling. All right, bye, Al. And let me share with you my finished objects. I have a pair of socks. This is pair 10 for the year. This is the Fruit Loops yarn, self-striping, sorry, it's the Fruit Loops colorway on the Bounce Base by Fiber Nymph Dye Works. This was a long time stash marinating kind of yarn, and I'm so glad that I finally knit it. I did some accents, heel tough coes, you know what I mean, with just some general wool nylon that I dyed myself in this gray. There they are. I've worn them a little bit, just a little bit. It is that season now where I can finally put on wool socks in the morning. In fact, for the past 2 days, I've been wearing my North Ronald Z. Lincoln socks, and they have been a delight and a comfort. So that's FO number 1. FO number 2 might get ripped out, at least partially. This is out of Handspun, and it's a cowl I cast on, inspired by the, oh goodness, what's that called? The Hero Sweater by Julia Farwell Clay. And I used 3 colors of Hog Island fleece. It's coming out very strange on camera. That I spun from the Ross Farm. It's a very endangered breed, and in fact I'm going to talk about more Hog Island stuff in this episode. I cast on, I think, 140 stitches, and it does go around twice, but the color work does not look great, and I just think it's not the right yarn for it. I mean, it looks okay. The gray and the brown are really nice. The white just was really difficult to spin, and it spun up very kind of stringy. You can see in the white that it's just not, I needed to go down a needle size or 2 or 3. But that would have drawn in, I think. So the white just doesn't really fit in with the other 2 colors, which were much more delightful, and they were easier to spin, really especially like the gray. So it is incredibly springy, like Hog Island is. It's a breed that's local to me, and it's a really rare, interesting breed. I've talked about it many times. So that's this cowl. I don't know. I don't have an alternate plan for what I would do if I ripped it out. I would probably just rip out, I don't know what I'll do. Maybe I'll just wear it. So those are my works in progress. No, those are my FOs. Goodness. It's been a while since I've sat down in front of my computer, and you can really tell. And it's been a busy month. And I hate saying that it's been busy because I don't believe in the cult of busy. I reject the cult of busy. Generally to the good. It's not a sacrifice. And anything that really matters. And I'm rambling. But it has just, there's been a lot going on. There have been people who have been ill, including me. There have been back to school things to do. So hopefully October will be slower, and it's my birthday month. So I always enjoy enjoy myself as much as possible. So that's what's been going on. I'm just going to move this down here. And that's one reason I have not been podcasting. But I just had the hankering to sit down and record and say hi. So let me show you my works in progress. Let's show you this one in one of my woven bags. I have another pair of socks. So sock pair 11 for the year. And this is a Wandering Wool colorway dyed by the lovely, lovely Joelle. And this is the Skidaw sock, which is a tweed blend. It's BFL and nylon nep. And this is the colorway Pea Puree, but I really feel like with the, let me show you. It screams mint chocolate chip to me with the neps that are sort of a lovely browny black. So this, I'm doing Hermione's Everyday Socks. Now, this pattern really comes out larger, even with the same stitch count, than, sorry about the noises, just because of the purl stitches. Every few rows there are purl stitches, and it just makes the sock have a bigger circumference. So after I did the first little bit, I decreased by 4 to make it skinnier, basically, and I will keep it at a skinnier count through the foot as well. You could go down a needle size, that would work, but I was too lazy. So I'm just doing my usual sock, other than the fact that I have this pattern of Hermione's Everyday Sock, and it really does not show up on screen, does it? But I felt like a little texture, so there you go. Here is the cake. It's a really tightly plied, on the skinny side fingering. I feel like it's a nice little variety in my yarn, my sock yarn. Now I have a sweater. I have other things on the needles, but these are the only things that I've really touched. And this one is all tangled. So professional after 200 episodes. I'm calling this sweater my Avocado Raglan. And here it is. I'm about to start the ribbing on the body. So you can see from the stripes that are showing up on the screen that are much more subtle in real life, that I've been alternating skeins. This is a hand-spun Rambouillet from Rockland's Farm in Pennsylvania. And my Hog Island is also from Pennsylvania, from the Ross Farm. So Avocado Raglan because maybe I should call it Avocado Cable Raglan. But the avocado comes in because I dyed this hand-spun yarn with avocado pits, and I have this sort of ballet slipper pink. It's okay. I was not thrilled with the color, but this is the color you get with avocados, at least the pits. And I did sort of amp up the alkalinity of the dye bath by putting in washing soda, which is baking soda that has been baked in an oven at a low temperature for an hour. So yeah, I've designed this. I'm very happy with it. In fact, I think that I've knit a ton on it since I last podcasted. So under the arms, I've continued these cables from the Raglan increases, and I've added, in the stitches I cast on under the arm, I've added another cable, just a horseshoe cable. And I've played, I don't think I'm going to be able to show, maybe upside down I can show you. I've played with the decreases and increases. See, as I'm increasing out for the hips, you can see that the sort of cable panel flares out in a very pleasing inverted V. This is upside down. So I really, really am enjoying this. The one thing I am not pleased with, I'm not sure if it will block out, is the short row shaping in the back of the neck. It just looks, it pooches out like the heel of a sock, which is basically what you do when you turn a heel, right? So I don't know what I did wrong, how I should have changed that. If it does not block out, then I will cut my knitting and I will regraft stitches. Excuse me. And at the very least, it'll be behind me. So yeah, very pleased with my avocado raglan. And it's squishy, lovely 3-ply hand-spun Rambouillet. Now I'm going to have masses of yarn left over from that. I have 2 giant skeins still for the sleeves, so I will have at least 1 skein left over, I reckon. So I don't know what I'll do with that. We'll see. Other works in progress. Okay, let me just get this down here. So much yarn, people. So much wool. My other work in progress is the Bruntsfield vest. Cannot pick you up, Alice. Sorry. The Bruntsfield vest is a Fair Isle vest by Isolde Teague. And it's not going how I thought it would. So, color work is hard when you need to pick the colors. It's not as straightforward as you would think. Now, I've done big color work projects before, and I did not use the exact yarn indicated in the pattern. I'm thinking of my Lovage sweater. But I followed the general guidelines for colors and values of color that the designer did, and it worked, mostly. I think there was one yarn that was not ideal, but I was able to live with it. I honestly don't know if I'm able to live with this. And I've also made some choices which might necessitate buying more yarn, because I bought mostly this color gray. This is the first skein. This is all I've used of it. I bought 2 of the mustard colors, and this is the first skein, and that's all that's left of it. I have 3 more skeins of this. So I switched colors around without really thinking, oh, I'm going to have to buy more of this color or that color. It's really neither here nor there. The Woolly Thistle will have more. It's Jamieson and Smith 2-ply jumper weight. But the other thing that's going on is I don't know if I like the way the colors are working together. So my palette, okay, let me just show you. I'm knitting this on US 4s. I have my Luca needles. And yeah, okay. It fits. I know for sure it fits. I've tried it on with 2 needles in it, and I love it actually. On the screen it looks much better than I think than in real life. But look at this navy blue. It just kind of blurs. It just does not, it's like a blurry photo. I don't understand why this is happening. It might be yarn dominance, and in fact, I'm switching in the next repeat. I've just started knitting with the white and the blue again. I've switched the yarn dominance so that the blue will be dominant and not the white, just in those rows where I use the blue. Generally, I like everything else that's happening, except for that blue. Look how strange does it look strange to you? I don't understand. It must be yarn dominance, or maybe it's just not the right color. But you can see I've knit a significant amount. The color work is okay. I've stopped knitting with one color in each hand because I find that the tension, I get more puckering that way. And I'm just knitting with both colors on my right hand. And I just sort of alternate. So yeah, I don't know what's going to become of this. We'll see. But that's the Bruntsfield cardigan. It looks better on the screen, doesn't it? I don't know what I would replace this blue with. Maybe a dark charcoal. I don't know. So I'm going to do one more repeat and see how I feel. The thing is, I'm okay with pulling it out. I just don't have a plan yet for what I would do if I did pull it out. So here's my chart. We'll see. Now I believe that is all I have for works in progress, which is kind of crazy, but let me stuff this all back in my Shop Teasel bag. Otherwise, it's just a mess. This project doesn't travel either. You know, I could take every other project I have pretty much out and about with me, but not this one. So, let's talk spinning and dyeing. Yes. My goodness, there's so much of it. So I did some dyeing with pokeberry. And pokeberry is an indigenous, oh, I have my guides, my field guides right here. I can show you pokeberry. Pokeberry is an indigenous berry to mostly, I think, the eastern and mid-United States. Now, I used Ella Rae worsted, as well as some Patton's classic wool. The Ella Rae was cream, and that's this, let me open these up. The cream color took on more sort of caramelies than the just purely white. Did get some pinks as well. But what happened, I'll tell you about the whole process, but the reason I think this is so deep is that when I was cooking the yarn, I have a big roasting pan that I use for dyeing, and so it fits across 2 burners on my stove that are sort of connected. It's actually 3 burners. My throat is a mess today. So 3 burners. And I turned the burner off, but I forgot to turn off the very back burner. So I think this is extra cooked. And that's why I'm getting those deep caramels. This is the Patton's. So I'm getting peaches and corals and pinks. And typically pokeberry gives you a very, very magenta fuchsia color. I didn't use a lot of pokeberries in proportion to the amount of wool I had, very few. So let me look it up and show you in case you're not familiar with it. It's growing wild, and it's a weed. And I got the bulk of my pokeberries from a neighbor's yard. Their side yard. It's not like I'm climbing fences for pokeberries, but it's funny once you start dyeing with plants, what you sort of see. Your eye sort of becomes sharper for things you can dye with. Pokeberry, where are you in the index? Here we go. Pokeweed. Sorry, it's pokeweed. I've been saying berry. Ay. So I used a method that I found on the internet, and I will share the link with you. It has the flower that blooms, but not the berry, strangely enough. Weird. Okay, well, pokeweed. You can look it up. This is it right here. So this is the flower, and then eventually at the end of summer you get a berry. Each one of these flowers turns into a berry, sort of a deep eggplanty color berry that is just bursting with, looks like my lipstick when you cut into it. So the method I use, let me tell you exactly, is I was, where is it? Please tell me it's still here. Here it is. I was wary of dyeing pokeberries because I'd heard from a couple people that they could not get the dye to set or all the way or rinse clean. They could not get the dye to exhaust, basically. Or, so they were left rinsing and rinsing and rinsing. So I used a process I found on the hillcreekfiberstudio.com website, and it's called Non-Fading Pokeberry Recipe. And this woman has done a lot of experimenting with this, and she recommends not using alum but acetic acid, which I think is basically vinegar, maybe slightly different, but so I used a lot of vinegar and mordanted for a significant amount of time. Cooked the yarn before I dyed it in the mordant, let it cool overnight. I did a lot of leaving things overnight when I did this dyeing. So Yeah, so if you're curious, Hill Creek Fiber Studios, and she also uses the Mordenting bath in the dye bath. So kind of an interesting way to go about it, and it was definitely an experience. And it did rinse clean. I think I might weave with this. I saw at the Shenandoah Festival this weekend sort of not really a cardigan, but not a poncho, but sort of in between, which was just a rectangle, a woven rectangle with sort of draped over your, I'd have to look at how it was done. It was separated here, of course, and then the two fronts were draped over and then sewed a bit to the fabric at the back. I'll have to look at how that's done. Anyway, I think this would be kind of amazing, woven up. Yes, so pokeberry dyeing. I've also been prepping fiber. I've been prepping some Gotland. This is what the lock looks like. It is not easy to comb, but it's worth it. And this is the combing waste that I've carded. Put a little bit on a spindle here. I think I'm going to, there's a lot of combing waste from this Gotland. I think I'm going to card little bats out of it. And then the other thing I've been working on, because I cannot resist it, I cannot keep my hands off of it, is Hilda, the Corriedale from Serenity Farms in Michigan. And I've been combing little nests of Hilda, the Corriedale, and this is in my Hawthorne Cottage craft bag, which I'm using as a little fiber keeper. So yes, I'm combing it using my Valkyrie combs. Here's one of them. And this is the rest of the Corriedale. In fact, it's not all washed yet, actually. But the weather's kind of ideal for fleece washing. I should do that this week. I actually really enjoy having dirty fleece in my house, so maybe I won't completely wash it. Found my swatch for my Brunsfield. The swatch looks okay, doesn't it? I don't get it. Don't get it. All right, it's a mystery. What else do I have to show you? I have sewing. So for sewing, today I sewed up some bag prototypes. Well, not prototypes. They're not finished is what I mean to say. And that's this sort of cityscape. I really enjoy this sort of black background and then a sort of a cartoony cityscape. I have like 5 or 6 of these that I need to complete. So those will go up in the shop at some point this week, maybe by the end of the week. I have made a slew of other bags and I'm very excited to tell you more about them, but I can't tell you more about them right now, in a few weeks. And they're bags made with handmade stuff, handmade materials. Oh, I did some sewing, some garment sewing. I made another lark tee. I really love this. I've tried to take a decent selfie of this, and I look absolutely ridiculous in all of them. So here it is. It's a lark tee. Who makes this? Grainland Studio. And this is an art gallery jersey that I've had my eye on for about a year. Decided I would finally purchase it. And I love this. It's so cozy. I made long sleeves. This is the easiest version of the lark tee. It's a boat neck. It has three pieces to cut out. Front, back sleeves. And you know, the sleeves, you do it as one. So I really love it. It looks great with my Hollyburn skirt because it has this dark blue. The Hollyburn skirt, I've been getting a ton of use out of that. It goes with everything. I feel great in it. I love it. Not everything is a win in the sewing department. I'm about to share a fail. And it's a pretty sad fail, you guys, because it's Liberty of London fabric. It's not a complete loss, but it's definitely not a win. So I made another Mimi top by Tilly and the Buttons. My first one has also been getting a ton of wear. So this is it. This is the back. This is the front. You notice I'm not wearing this. I'm gonna just bring it up close. Do you see the buttonholes? Mm-hmm. Do you see how it's closed and I'm not using the buttonholes to close it? Yeah. I think where I went wrong with this was that I cut out the pieces and I didn't stay stitch the collar in particular and the necklines right after I cut them out. Rookie mistake, rookie garment maker mistake. So they sat on my table. They didn't get fussed with. Well, I did pull them out to show you guys to podcast with. But when I started doing the construction, the collar had stretched out. It did not work. It just didn't work. You can see the two ends of the collar right here. It didn't match the lines and notches that it was supposed to. And I just plugged ahead with it. And the result was the lines of the buttons didn't work out. The collar didn't work out. The hemline didn't work out. I redid so many parts of this. It was like a domino effect. From the collar not working out, everything else fell. Now I fixed the hem so it matches at the opening here. I was not able to salvage the buttons. And I'm having issues with my buttonhole foot. I thought it was the last time that I was with the Swiss dot fabric and it was catching on the dots. It did the same thing here. So most of the buttonholes came out fine, but that top one did not. And I've got it hidden by the collar. And I think all this is going to be good for is wearing under a vest. Now, I can take some comfort from the fact that the Liberty is it's significantly cheaper where I bought it in Paris than it would have been here. Yeah, so not a win, not a complete loss, but I'm a little grumpy about it, I won't lie. So, acquisitions, let's talk about that. I have a significant amount of fabric coming and a lot of things I want to sew. So I want to make an Ogden cami, although now I'm rethinking that because I think I'd have to be braless to wear that because it has spaghetti straps. Yeah, I don't know. I want to make a cocoa jacket by Sew Over It, Sew Over It. And it's a very Chanel-inspired jacket. I've been watching the Sew Over It podcast a bit lately, and I'm finding her very inspiring. And she was showing her cocoa jackets, and I think it would look great with a lot of things I have in my wardrobe. I want to make a Blackwood cardigan, and I actually ordered a sweater knit to make that from, and that's by Helen's Closet. I haven't bought that pattern yet either. And then what's the other one that I've been looking at? Oh, I want to make a lark tee in sort of a breton, like a sailor stripe. And then I'd like to make a Hadley top by Greenline. And I don't own that pattern yet either. So the Ogden Cami was by True Bias. But it seems like a great little pattern for just small amounts of fabric and like colorful pops. So we'll see. So that's the fabric coming, that's some of it. Some of it is for those patterns. And then my husband and I went to Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival weekend before last. I got very little at the festival. I had a great time there and I enjoyed looking at everything that I could. But I only purchased a few things. I bought some tea and a tea strainer, a really interesting tea strainer. I bought some Shetland from the Ross Farm. This is a Morit Lindy 2.0 Shetland 3-ply. I'm going to knit some pierogi socks. They had some in their booth. And it's a design by P.A. Knitwit. I think her name is Sarah Jordan. And I have the pattern already, and it's adorable. Go look at pierogi, like, you know, the Polish dumpling. So yeah, I want to try those. I got some wood beams. I need to give my wheel a cleaning and a waxing, and I need to replace the drive band. I have it, my Ladybug spinning wheel. It's a mess with all the fleece spinning I do. It's just dusty and kind of gross. So I got this from the Spanish Peacock. I resisted buying another spindle. It's very difficult. But wood beams is just for polishing the wood. It's very nice. And then Jaime got some wandering wool. He got this gorgeous gradient North Country sock, Midnight on the Water. This is almost 700 yards, and this is to make a dotted raise. He wants to knit another shawl to wear as a scarf. He really had fun knitting the Hitchhiker. So a dotted raise is about to happen. And again, that's wandering wool. Now, I did get one other thing in the mail, and this is from Craft Buzz. Here is her card. She's on Etsy. No, sorry, she's on Big Cartel. CraftBuzzBigCartel.com. We did a trade. Did she win a prize? I can't remember if she won a prize for the Summer of S. I did send her something. No, but she donated a prize for the Summer of S. Silly Frou won it. And I apologize, this has been crumpled a bit in my bag. This is my fault that it's crumpled. But take a look, it's a project bag that you can embroider or use fabric markers, and it's cheap. So much fun. So it's a really cool drawstring bag. I need to put this to use now that I've shown it off. So Craft Buzz at BigCartel.com. Yes, we did a trade. She wanted to send one of these to me as a thank you, and I said, well, we'll have to trade. So I sent her a project bag of mine. So gorgeous. So that's it for acquisitions and pretty much everything I have to tell you about. Did I show you the Hog Island? No, I didn't. I didn't show you the Hog Island. I will say that I have some brushwork yarn. That's the Blacker Yarn birthday yarn this year. I have a sweater quantity of the purple coming to me from the Amazing Woolly Thistle. I'm very excited to try that out. I didn't show you my Hog Island spin. It's a finished spin. So this was from a fleece that Sarah Pomegranate and I shared. This is less than 2 pounds. This was the latest culprit of making a mess on my wheel. Super dusty. Oh my goodness. So this was, oops, hang on. This was, sorry about that. This was the Hog Island, as I said, that Sarah Pomegranate and I split at Maryland Sheep and Wool this year. And it's already spun into yarn, which is kind of great because I bought it in May. The sheep was raised, what is that? Piece of fabric. The sheep was raised by Emily Chamelin's daughter, Lydia, who was a 4-H'er doing her 4-H project with his Hog Island sheep. And it was shorn by her mom, Emily, who is an amazing shearer and sort of educator around raising sheep. And she's starting a wool pool in Maryland, which is very exciting. She lives part of the year in Maryland and part of the year sort of Montana, Idaho, maybe Wyoming, that area, doing other shearing. So I did a 2-ply, and I have 1,400 plus yards of probably a sport. I have no idea what I will do. But true to Hog Island, the nature of Hog Island, it is springy. I'm just enjoying the smell right now. I wish you guys could be here to sniff this. It's quite nubbly pebbly and a very rustic spin. That's the true color right there. Really interesting color. The tips were quite orange in places from sun exposure. So you get a little bit of that occasionally. So yeah, raised in Maryland. very local, very special, and even more special because I shared it with a friend. So you all are my fiber friends as well, and I cherish you coming here and chatting with me on YouTube and on the Ravelry group, and sharing your inspirations with me. And I just want to say thank you so much. So take care till next time.